Brendan, you ready?
I am ready.
Ready for me to throw it to you at random times tonight?
Always.
And welcome to Dead Headspace. I'm your host, Patrick R. McDonough, joined by my friend Brennan LaFaro. Say hello, Brennan.
Hello, everybody.
And my other friend, Erica Robbins. Say hello, Erica.
Hello.
And my third friend, Candace Nola. Say hello, Candace.
Hello.
Today we are talking with author Caitlin Marceau. Say hello, Caitlin.
Hello, Caitlin.
What got you into horror?
I didn't like horror when I was younger. I had like night terrors and sleep paralysis, and I still do have sleep paralysis sometimes, which is just fun. But like growing up, I was scared of everything. I remember distinctly like Lunette the Clown was like one of my favorite childhood shows. And then I had just like one nightmare where she had like the longest arms in the world and was like chasing me. And it just, I don't know, I was scared of everything. And then I kind of got exhausted of just like being afraid of like literally everything. And then just tried to binge watch as much horror content as I could because my mom and dad were huge fans of it. So I was a massive disappointment as a child because of that. And then I overcorrected, and now I can't get enough horror. It's like my favorite thing. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you'll hear the opposite, that parents try to prevent kids from watching certain horrors.
Yeah.
Candace, do you have anything?
I have anything. I have a whole list of questions for Caitlin.
Let's go.
My blood type is A positive, Candace. Let's just get that one. Like, I'm 5'8".
Okay.
That gets the first three questions out of the way.
Size.
I'm a size 9. Unless they're
Me
like
too.
boots. Unless they're boots, though. I want 9.5 in boots because I wear like the
Me
big thick
too.
socks.
Oh, great. So when I kidnap you, we're good. We can share clothes and everything. Awesome.
I hope so.
My next question is, who is your favorite author right now, and why is it me?
Thanks, Candace. No.
Brennan, you've created a monster.
I don't know. Okay, if I have to answer that honestly, I don't know if I have like a favorite author right now. But I mean, I guess for like this present moment, I've started consuming like Tim McGregor's Wasp and the Ice Cream, and that is like an absolute like. I feel like a lot of books do nostalgia like really heavy-handed to the point of like exhaustion, and this one just feels like an actual like sincere coming of age story with like nostalgia done in earnest. Like it's just really, really well done. It's not too much. So like, and his book lore was amazing. Like it absolutely just, yeah. So I guess Tim McGregor is if it can't be Candace Nola.
Oh yeah, you know, can always be me. I guess. You know.
It always will be Candace.
I like this. You're coming out of your shell.
Wow, so okay. I guess you technically answered my next one. So, Pat, do you want me to keep going? Because I actually have a list and I read and I studied and I made notes.
How about we go to Erica first?
Okay, cool. I also have a list, so feel free to bounce around. Which one do I want to do first? I guess one thing that I have is more of a comment. I was reading, and I gotta ask how to pronounce it. Femina? Yeah, Femina. Okay, cool. I was reading that, and reading the table of contents, I saw the title In Utero. Anything about birth right now is kind of off the table for me. It's just terrifying. Don't want to read about it. I was so nervous. And I was like, I should reach out to Caitlin and ask if I'm going to be okay reading that one. But I was like, you know what? No, just go into it. Whatever. No. I don't want to spoil that one. But I just wanted to say that, like, when I hit a certain point in that story, my jaw, like, literally dropped open. I was just like, what? So I just wanted to say that one was, like, absolutely incredible. I loved the I guess twist is what I'm gonna go with, but I love horror stories where you kind of have an inkling where you think it might be going just from the title, and then you're completely wrong. So thank you very much for that one. No problem. And also, I wish you'd asked me before you read it. I could have warned you and been like, no, this is not a story you wanna approach. No, all good. I was fine. Okay. I guess send me the therapy bills. I mean, it's Totally. Then also talking about just like brutal emotion and things like that. You have a book called This Is Where We Talk Things Out, and it was definitely emotionally brutal, to say the very least. So I wanted to ask you, do you have like checkpoints that you touch base with yourself as you're writing really dark stories like that, just to make sure you're not dipping too far into the darkness? Do you kind of just let it roll? What's your process like with that?
Oh man. So like I'm kind of weird in the sense that like I'm that person who like meticulously outlines everything. Like I know there's like the pantsters and like the outliners. I like take outlining to like a new level where I'm like, and this is where the emotional breakdown happens, and this is what she's gonna think to herself. And I might as well just like write the whole story out because I just like do and then I rewrite it essentially. So like when I'm going through the outline, kind of like after the fact, 'cause I'll do like 2, 3, 4 outlines until it's like, I mean, like perfect, but like it's never perfect, right? It's the curse of art, I think. But I write it until I'm satisfied with it, and then I'll just kind of like write the whole story, usually in like a burst of like a couple of days, maybe like a couple of weeks, and then like edit it from there. But usually during the outlining process, I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, so how bad is this? Like emotionally, traumatically bad, how is this doing? And sometimes I like lean into that. Like with this one, I don't know if anybody cares if I spoil the ending of this book so early in the podcast. Does
No,
anybody
it's up to you.
mind?
You're the author.
Okay. Oh, I don't care about spoilers. I'll ruin it for everyone. Heads up. But like, so at the end of the book, right, she is trapped at this cabin and she's never going to leave. And originally, I had actually thought that was too dark of an ending, and I had changed it. And I was like, she's actually going to hurt her mom bad enough that the mom is like unable to leave the cabin and like now needs to depend on her daughter forever. And like I was going to kind of end it so that the kid decides, like, so that Miller decides to stay at the cabin because of how badly she's hurt her mother. And I was going to kind of have her like willingly stay. And I was like, it just didn't feel right to do that. And I just leaned in wholeheartedly to like the worst ending I'm going to say I could have. So that's, sometimes I care about the ending in terms of like how dark it gets, but like sometimes I want it to, as in utero shows, sometimes I want it to go there.
Miller's mom sucks. I know people like her, and my wife has and this isn't an implication of my mother, her mother, because what I'm about to say might come off that way, but my wife's a social worker, and she's really smart with approaching people because she studies this. She has a master's in this, and she really kind of like helped me understand boundaries, and man, it's just, it feels like it's so much easier to give in and to apologize like Miller does, but that's so the opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would have known that still if it wasn't for my wife, because she broke everything down, and it's not easy. So my question to you is, a lot of your stories really just piss me off. I got a short fuse, and that is not, yeah, Brendan's laughing. That is not any kind of bad thing. Your writing's excellent. Piss me off because I know people like the characters you wrote, like the boyfriend in Femina. I forgot who it was, but he's just a complete asshole. Just he's not nice in any way to his girlfriend. I forget both their names. I apologize for that.
Oh, it's all good.
And I'm getting pissed off because I'm like, this is why people think us guys are fucking assholes, because of so many of you dicks. There's really no question. I just wanted to say this talking point for the show to tell you your dialogue is excellent, and it's really snappy. Actually, I do have a question. Is there any writer that you, for me it's like Joe Lansdale and Ronald Kelly, that have really good snappy dialogue? I kind of look up to them for that stuff. Is there any writer or writers for you that you look up to and you're like, man, I wish I could write my dialogue or my pacing could be something like that?
Oh man, I always feel like an asshole when I don't have like a good author that I like look up to. But like, no, Not really. Like, okay, so like this is gonna make I'm gonna look like such a dick. But like one of the things for me is like growing up, I went to creative writing at university, and there were a lot of authors like in the program with me, and most of my professors were authors in some way. And they always were like, you should aspire to write like XYZ. And it was always like, I'm so sorry, some dusty old white man. And I'm like, I really don't want to write like that. So I made a point of trying to not write like anyone in particular. And I just try to write like myself. So there's no one that I really like aspire to write like, because I was intentionally like not writing like anyone as far as I was going out of my way to do.
That makes sense. Erica, I kind of jumped in there. So do you want to pick up, or if not you, Brennan?
No, I was done with my question, so we can jump to Brennan.
Yeah. Pat, I love how you managed to turn compliments of Caitlin's book into a statement of not all men. Great job, buddy.
Wait, before you go any further, I would like to point out Brennan is not wearing a hat today. Distraction. That's not what I meant. I'm not the bad guy here. Fuck you, Brennan.
Yeah, that was a pretty weak distraction, man. All right, so Caitlin, one thing I'd love to ask you about is, you productivity. You are just, everywhere right now, and even, whether it's novellas, collections, whatever you're putting out, you're doing a lot with Dark Lit, which at some point we can definitely geek out about how great it is working with Andrew. But
yeah,
you've also got stuff coming out with Ghost Orchid, with Timber Ghost. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about not putting all your eggs in one basket and just spreading the work around.
Yeah. So, okay. So I want to say I went into everything with like a meticulous strategy, and I was like really intelligent, and I'm just a badass bitch when it comes to writing. And the reality is that it was pure dumb luck, absolutely accidental. Oh my God, what in the fuck? I had like sent out a collection, A Blackness Absolute, actually, to a publisher in 2021. I think it was 2021. It was, sorry, it's been a while. I sent it out in 2021 to one publisher. I sent Palimpsest out to Gore Circuit Press at the same time. And then I had like sent Magnum Opus. And this is where we talk things out, kind of all out at the same time. I had like written them like at the same time. It got really weird. And then I sent them out to a bunch of publishers, thinking to myself that like, maybe if I'm really, 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 really so lucky and the universe is just feeling generous, one of them will get picked up. And then all of them got picked up in the span of, I kid you not, 60 days. I had like all of them roll in for like, yeah, it was just like really, really weird. And since then, I've had like a really beautiful opportunity to continue working with each of these publishers. And I could kind of admittedly stay with like one or two of them, but I do like getting to work with different editors because they're all such different styles, right? Like I absolutely love Andrew. I think he approaches it just fantastically. He's just like, I don't know, he is like one of like the top tier editors to me. But like, so is Cody, so is Antonia, and so is Kat from Here is Screen Press. They're all just like so different in how they approach publishing. And I like them all so much that like I can't imagine like only putting all of my stories with one publisher, because like they do all hit different markets also, right? Like I think a lot of time writers sign with a publisher and they kind of feel that pressure to like stay with them until, the sun explodes kind of thing, right? Or until they stop writing. And just because of the pure dumb luck, I don't really feel like I have to have that loyalty to one publisher over the other. And that I do kind of get to diversify. And I think just kind of on my own experience of like the books I put out, it's been really interesting to connect with like very different audiences with really different material. Because like Palimpsest is in no way, shape, or form anywhere close to like, this is where we talk things out, which is in no way, shape, or form the same kind of like almost Poe-esque kind of vibe of Magnum Opus. And it's nice getting to work with these different publishers who want to push like the vibe I'm selling for each book. So like if I could encourage writers to not stick with one publisher, that would kind of be like, weirdly enough, my thing. Like definitely have loyalty to your publisher, but like don't be afraid to like make connections with other ones also. Cause like, I don't know, I've learned so much from each of these editors that I can't imagine where I'd be now if I hadn't had that experience with them. So like, yeah.
Yeah, and you make a really good point. It is, I imagine it would be a little bit different placing multiple books with multiple presses in a 60-day period like you did. But
Yeah.
when you put a book or even two books with one place, all of a sudden there's kind of like there's a sense of loyalty there where you almost feel obligated. Nothing's in writing. Nobody might even say anything, but you almost feel obligated. Well, I should give this press first, chance to pick up what I have coming out next.
Yeah.
And like I said, just that the, avalanche of acceptances for you almost quells that a little bit. Now, I do wonder, like with you kind of, lucking out, so to speak.
Very much so to speak.
Well, I hate to phrase it like that.
No, you're a good writer. Knock it off.
Yeah, exactly. You don't end up with all of that.
Look, don't get me wrong. I think I'm a fantastic-ish writer in that sense. Like, I'm fine. I don't think I'd be published if I was absolute trash, but it is absolute dumb luck. I will just say, because like realistically, like, let's be honest, there's so many good writers who are all querying and all submitting at the same time to the same markets. So like, I think as talented as any author is, there is a little bit of luck that plays into that. So it is sheer dumb luck to have like 4 books in 60 days, man.
Well, that's where I want to go with it. I want to talk about I want to quantify the dumb luck, if you will. So obviously talent plays a role. You can try and deny it, but it kind of has to. Nobody's going to buy your book if you can't write. But when you are, for newer writers, people looking to place projects and things like that, do you have anything that you did at the querying stage, at the relationship building stage, that you feel may have contributed to that, like, just burst of success?
Yes and no, I guess, is the best way to phrase it. So like, I don't know how to phrase this in a way that's going to sound like not weird. So, okay. So Femina was actually placed with a different publisher before it came to Darklit Press. So like, one of the things I didn't mention is there were 2 publishers, in addition to all the things that worked out really well, who also picked up 2 of my books. One of them was Femina, and the other one was A Blackness Absolute. Those had both been picked up by 2 I'm not going to mention the publishers because like, I don't want to, for whatever reason, I pulled my books from both of them. So it's kind of one of the reasons why I'm like, it doesn't matter who agreed to pick them up.
Yeah, this show ain't about that. That's what names don't have to be said.
Yeah. They were picked up. I think if it hadn't been for the fact that I had a really great relationship with Ghost Orchid Press for Palimpsest, that like, I don't think they would have picked up A Blackness Absolute. Because like, even when I wrote to them, I was like, I have no idea if this is anything you want. Maybe, please. And like, it just worked out that Antonio was like, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm down to publish another collection next year. Like, this will be great. And I was like, like I was sweating a little bit. And then same with Andrew, like Femina had come from another publisher. He had already signed This Is Where We Talk Things Out. And we'd actually been in discussion about the potential of like publishing a second book with him. And then I was like, hey, this is, I'm shooting my shot here, but like, it just so happens that I pulled this book. Are you at all interested in collections? Because I know like you don't have a ton, and like I don't really know if you're, some publishers don't want collections, so like I don't want to like burden you with this book that's like, a new collection. And he's like, absolutely, we are like signing it, So I think kind of having my foot in the door on those ones certainly helped. I also will say that like when it comes to getting a publisher, being rejected by one also is an odd thing that helps you. Timber Ghost Press actually passed on one of my books. They were like, it's fine, but it's just like not what we're looking to publish at this time. But like I had established that relationship with Cody. I was aware of like the stuff that they were publishing. I was aware of like what their vision was kind of moving forward more than I had when I first sent them my work. And so when I came back with Magnum Opus, I was like, oh, this actually I think will fit you. How do you feel about this work? And it did work out. They published it. So I think like a lot of writers are afraid of querying and then being rejected because they're like, oh God, they rejected my manuscript. I can never send to that publisher again. Like I'm dead to them. And like, no, keep sending them stuff. Every time they reject you, you get a little closer to what they are looking for, And like, you can kind of, I don't want to say like self-reject, but like self-monitor, you kind of figure out where you should be sending your work the more you get a no. So like that definitely helped with the publishing. And just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, no, that's a good tip for anybody, for everything. I would also add to that for, again, newer writers, that if a press says, send us, please submit again in the future, in my experience, they always mean that, because they always get so much stuff that if they really don't like your stuff, all they have to do is not include that last line. Typically, they did see something they liked, it just wasn't a good fit at the time.
Yeah. I think that's a lot. I think it's like one of the things that a lot of writers, like especially new ones, are afraid of, is that a no means a no forever. Like it's a not this time, it's a no for the rest of your writing career. You're dead to us and we will never publish you. You failure. Like, and it's definitely not that. It's just this doesn't work for us right now. Because again, like I mentioned earlier, there's so many great writers who were all writing for the same submission calls, the same publishers, querying at the same time with, books that are all different, but also explore a lot of similar ideas and themes. It's kind of a crapshoot at times. And just because you didn't get a yes this time doesn't mean you won't get a yes tomorrow, So.
Brennan, I thought you were going to go. I'm wondering
I was going
if
to throw it to Candace, unless you have something to say.
No, I just had one stupid comment about the I wonder, there's got to be one person like that and listening. They're like, hey, they're talking about me. Same names, Caitlin. Okay, moving on to Candace.
Moving on to me. I got nothing. This is why I love her. All of that needed to be said.
Oh,
there are hundreds of people who needed to hear every word you just said. I tell that to a lot of the newer ones that I work with and mentor and all of that. There's so many presses and publishers and magazines out now that are looking for a wide range of things, and this one has this certain item that they want to check off their list, and this one wants this one, and this wants this, and you have to learn what they want. You have to learn what their vision is, and no, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because there's so many of them out there. All of that is, yeah, absolutely correct. For future reference, everyone can find Caitlin in my basement, because she will now live with me. And I will keep her snug and warm, because this is my spirit animal. And yeah.
I'm glad that you're going to keep me warm, because I have really bad circulation and I am a cold lady. So like,
nope, I'll keep you snug and warm. You'll be well fed, and all your publishers can find you right here with me, because you and I are going to be like a dream team.
That's bullshit. You already write for 5 people, and Caitlin does the same. So you got 10 people in 2 bodies.
I mean, I write for about 72 people right now, and I edit for 27, and I'm mentoring 12, and I'm editing for 18. Yeah, I have time to take care of her too. It's fine.
Oh my god, I am burnt out hearing you.
I'm burnt out listening to me half the time, but So Pat mentioned the boyfriend in the one collection. I believe he was referring to the story about the woman undergoing the weight loss.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that guy. Now, I was listening to that. I was listening to that while I was at work. I was like, oh man, I want to smack this guy so hard. He's such a dick. You did so, that's why I said your stuff pisses me off, because it's so real. There's so many people like that, but not all men, Brennan.
Yeah. But see what this is. So I'm gonna reveal a little bit about me here. So my question on that particular story is, do you know someone personally that went through one of those? Because you nailed it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh,
Okay.
so I've had, I mean, I don't know if I've ever talked about it too publicly, but I've had 2 gastro surgeries. I had one in 2016 because I have hip dysplasia, and I've had like a whole bunch of issues with my hip. And basically, I ended up going to the doctor, and they were like, "Here are your options. We do a hip replacement before you're 30, and like you wear it out, and we have to do this whole long song and dance with your hip for the rest of the time, or we take this chance and we have weight loss surgery done, and like we hope it's not. You'll still have to get a hip replacement, but maybe not right now." Like maybe just like having lighter weight will do you some good. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I have asthma too, like I mentioned. So like, it's kind of nice to have like, less strain on my lungs. So I was like, let's go for it. And the process was a nightmare. Every doctor I spoke to assumed I was there because I hated myself and that I should actually hate myself. Like if I didn't, they hated me for me. Like they were very clear about where I stood on their list of people they liked, and it wasn't near the top. Every time, because like again, like I was like 300 plus pounds at one point, so I'd go to the doctor and it was like, hey, I broke a bone. Have you tried not being fat though? have you considered how bones will heal if you're not fat?
Yeah.
Hey, I have a nosebleed because of the extra pounds. Like, sir,
Jesus Christ.
It was its own nightmare. And then like the second I like lost the weight from the surgery, then suddenly it was like the smallest inconvenience was like taken a bit more seriously. I'm still a woman, so they don't like me, but like they like me a little more now. Now it's not everything is blamed on my weight. Now it's just like, are you exaggerating because you have ovaries? So
Right.
That's happened with my wife before. I've gotten really not yelling, but I've gotten pretty pissed at doctors for my wife's fucking smart. I'm like, she knows her body, motherfucker. I'd say that, but
the second gastric surgery I had to have was actually in 2021, excuse me. And it's because they fucked up the first one. I think I mentioned it, but like my voice never used to sound like this. It was never so like husky. I used to like, even in my 20s, people would call my house and I'd answer the phone and they'd be like, parents there, child.
Oh my God, don't spit that coffee out.
Sorry. I just sounded, a lot more childish and a lot less Mike Wazowski, like that sort of tone. So like I had to get a second surgery because like my esophagus was being eroded by acid reflux. I had a hernia. I was in constant pain. And I'm telling them this and they're just like, maybe you're just exaggerating because you're a little bitch. I'm like, oh, okay. Yes, I am. Fuck me, I suppose. Jesus Christ. I ended up having to get a gastrectomy, I want to say it is, and they put the camera down. And then everyone was like shocked to see that there was a hernia, that like my esophagus had been like totally burnt because of acid reflux, and that like they had in fact like messed up with like intubation, and that's why I'm so like husky sounding. And they were like startled, and I'm like, oh man, if only I hadn't complained about this for 6 years, we might not have known. Anyways, yeah, the long answer was I do have experience with that.
Well, I asked because I had one last March, and like you nailed it. Like everything that she was going through, you absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
And everything that you just mentioned, same across the board. Same attitude from every doctor across the board. 2 straight years, and before that, it was 20 years of, have you tried not being fat?
Oh yeah.
Like, you do realize you've operated on my spine 5 times and I'm fat because I haven't been able to walk for, the most of the last 12 years. But sure, let's try that. Same experience, everything she felt, like everything you wrote in that, I was like, she knows somebody or something because, oh, yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
Was it all male doctors?
Unfortunately, yeah. And you'd be surprised because a lot of the nurses that I had too were the same way.
So horribly fat like the thing that frustrates me so much is like fat phobia in general is just like terrible. It's absolute bullshit. Yeah. Weight has no correlation to health. Like, let's just accept this, right? At this point in time, let's all accept that as like just fact. But then like to be fat phobic with like patients who are already at their most vulnerable And then like to make them continuously feel like ashamed of not only like who they are, but the treatment they're seeking, plus the recovery time. Like it's absolutely absurd, the attitude of the people. And like I understand, like I don't even understand, but like if you're a doctor in like another department and you're like a fat phobic asshole, that's bad enough. But to be the person who is going to see me like naked on the operating table, who has to take my recovery seriously,
Right.
is like another thing. Like again, I don't really talk about it, but like the surgery that I had in 2021 also didn't go great. I have been throwing up for well over a year, and like they didn't care. Like I couldn't hold food down for like months at a time. And they were just like, "Oh, have you tried eating?" You know, what? Fucking Martha.
Yeah, it was, yeah,
Yeah, they're just like they're absolutely. Anyways,
it's awful.
That's a very long conversation, but like fuck that system in particular.
I got something that's relatable to that. I'm obviously not going to name who, but a family member of mine suggested a doctor that they know, and because I put it out there, I'm looking for specialists in ADHD and autism, things of that nature, who are also readers or just want to come on and talk. Because there's a lot of people that I talk to that listen to the show that could probably benefit from that. Luckily, I got a partner that's smarter than me. That's Brennan, and he's like, "You should reconsider this guy. Just read the first page of his book." And right off the bat, it's talking about how if your ADHD is not a real thing, and it's this. Brennan, you're a lot smarter at it, so if you're comfortable with it, can you take over from this point on?
If
not,
I'm honest, man, it's been so long since I checked that guy out that I don't remember exactly what the red flags are. I just know that they were numerous and very crimson. It's when I did my master's degree, I did a lot of work on teaching music to not just kids but autistic people, and with a lot of kind of overflow, I suppose, into ADHD and other neurodivergencies. And a lot of that work, involved, it seems so obvious when you say it, but just talking to adults with, autism, and just garnering kind of their experiences. And you learn to parse out a lot of the language that, experts, I mean, it's one of those things also where it's a blanket statement, but 9 times out of 10, when somebody says that they are an expert on ADHD or an expert on autism, they're so full of shit that it's leaking out their ears.
Yes.
So that was essentially this guy. But I don't remember what the specifics were.
Well, I do one sticking point, and then I'll drop it because I think it's worth pointing out. I have been diagnosed as a child, and I was diagnosed last year with severe ADHD. And this guy basically said in his book for people with ADHD that it's a learning habit, and that you can basically it's not a neurological disorder. And that really I just wanted to bonk him in the nose because it's like, dude, do you think for like 30 plus years I've wanted to be a pain in everyone's ass, including myself? Like, obviously, I can't learn the same fucking way. And then he had really ugly things to say about autistic people. So, needless to say, he was never on the show because as soon as that, was brought to my attention, I was like, yeah, I gotta start vetting people.
The way people like dismiss ADHD and autism is like, it's awful. And also like it's so absurd sometimes that it like almost falls into like the line of parody. Like I didn't know I had ADHD, and I didn't know I like had ASD until I had a soft diagnosis actually like later last year. It was like at the end of 2022 that I was like, hey, like why are all of these things really difficult? And then the doctor I was like, oh, well, you're autistic. I'm like, oh, what? No one told me this. Like, I'm 32. Help me here. What? And then we were going over something. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, we're gonna have to send you to like a psychiatrist because here in Quebec you can't just have like a GP diagnose you, right? Like you have to have like, I think it's a psychiatrist that has to like formally give you the diagnosis. But he was like, yeah, like I can softly diagnose you that like you have very likely your, ASD and probably ADHD also. And so like, I'm talking to the secretary to like send in the referral, and she's like, well, you can make eye contact. It's impossible that you have any of these. Like,
yeah.
What? It's a spectrum, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the way any of this works.
Yeah.
It was so outlandish. It's like, are you sure though? You don't know everything about trains, so like, pardon? It was like the weirdest things that like this like nurse and receptionist were like talking to me about. I'm like, I didn't know that this was criteria I had missed somehow. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. The very last thing I want to say is this dude was he's a professor at a very reputable school.
Ooh.
And I just point this out because get a second opinion if your gut's saying this person sounds like they're fucking nuts. That's all I gotta say. I don't know how to segue. So Candace, Erica, Brennan, one of you go. Yeah, I did it, Brennan. Fight me. He says I gotta pick specific people. So Candace, why don't you go?
Okay, so I'll grab this one then. I have yeah, I still have my list here, and then I just had a question just pop in my head, and now it's gone like lightning. Fuck.
Lightning.
Oh. This is where we talk things out. When did you get the concept for that? And was there a particular reason that the idea for the story kind of popped in your head, or did it come from like a couple different like personal experiences? Or, and I know you have a disclaimer out there that your relationship with your mother is fine.
It's
and all
fine.
of that, but it made me wonder, do you have people that you know like that? Did you have close friends that are like that? Or did this idea just kind of like pop in your head? Because you already know I raved about it, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great book.
It's horrific, and it's so well written, and you can't help but hate the mother. And the whole how it just unfolds is just, it's relatable, and it's disturbing, and it's chilling as fuck. And the dialogue is so spot on. I was just like, read it. Like I was giving it to everybody. Like you can't just cover. So like walk me through where that came from, and why? What happened to you? Who hurt you?
Have you heard of LSD? No, I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding, I swear.
I have. Continue.
No judgment here, man.
On an unrelated note, I'm kidding. No, it was really, so like there were actually a couple of things that sort of like factored into writing this, and like the timing also. Sorry. So basically I love my mother. Mom, who is probably listening to this, like in the future, I know she's gonna listen to this, but somehow I can feel her like ears twitching. Like I promise I have a great relationship with my mom, but also she's a helicopter parent, and she always has been. And like I've talked about that before. Like it was in an essay that I wrote for Hear Us Scream, Volume 2. Or like just my entire life, my mom is the kind of person who is like very overprotective, and like a little bit overbearing. But I love you, Mom, so I don't mind it. But she's always been just like overprotective. And then like I was just thinking like, what would happen if you took that to the most like illogical extreme? Like, what if you took this mommy dearest, this helicopter parent, this like mom who really wants to be there all the time for you, and like turned it up to 11, not just made 10 louder, but turned it up to 11, right? And then like, it also kind of coincided, just kind of unfortunately with my grandmother. So she had Alzheimer's. She'd been sick for like a pretty long time, but her illness, because of the pandemic, got worse because there was a lot less human contact. For like all of 2020, there was very limited interaction you could have with her. And just her health declined like so fast. And she went from being able to like, she wasn't quite my grandmother for a while. She was able to like speak and kind of like say like very simple parrot phrases that she'd get like really excited about. And for some reason, hum the American national anthem, even though we're Canadians. It was a weird thing, but she like took such joy from it. To like not being able to do anything like that. Like she really wasn't able to speak much. She became really angry, very sullen, kind of withdrawn. Again, she had it for a while, but it progressed really fast because of the pandemic and the isolation. And so it just sort of happened that it was like sort of I don't want to say like at the end of her time, because she only passed away this January, but like it was certainly where it like progressed pretty quickly. And I kind of got to thinking like overbearing parent and like what happened if one of them, just suddenly had, because like, sudden onset Alzheimer's is a thing. So like what happened if someone, was diagnosed with this and their escalation happened, again, not quite like my grandmother's, but like my grandmother's felt, where it was very quick and very, tremendously fast. And they just sort of like were living rent free in my head as ideas. And then it has to be like the wildest thing. I had like seen Darklit Press was like accepting novella submissions, and I had like written out to Andrew and I was like, hey, there was no end date to this. Like, when are you closing? And he had like, I forget what the date was. I think it was ongoing, but like he wasn't looking past like 2 or 3 weeks. And I sat down and wrote like the 25,000 words in 7 days and edited it and sent it. Like in the span of 2 weeks, the book was written, edited, sent out, and miraculously accepted. It was
you and Candace. This is so fucking not fair. You two are just putting out such great work so quickly.
Purely accident. Like I did not think it was going to get picked up. I really wasn't sure about it. But like as I was writing it, it just felt like brutally honest. Because like there are, of course, like sound bites of like my mom and I. Like we've had the full conversation where like you get in the car with the bag and it's like put it on the ground. Like I don't want salt on the back seat of my car. And it's like, but why the fuck am I dragging my bag on the ground through the salt? Like why would I do that, Mom? So like little things like that I like peppered in, because like those were real moments that I'd experienced, but like obviously amped up for the sake of a novella. But like in general, thankfully our relationship is not that. It's very good.
Well, I thought it was great. Everything of yours that I've read since your first one that I always pronounce wrong. Palimpsest, is that?
Palimpsest, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So like I said, I always pronounce it wrong.
I need to pick a new title.
I've been your fan since that one. Oh. And I think what I like about you the most, other than obviously you're my twin, everything that you write is so wildly different from the last. Your range is just, you can touch on everything, the emotional impact. I mean, you will wreck somebody from one page to the next.
Thank you.
And it's just outrageous, because nothing I have read of yours has been like anything else of yours that I have read, nor has it been like anyone else's stuff that I have read. And I know a lot of us authors, we have a style, we have a voice, there's a certain tone to what we write, and a lot of us tend to stick to the same tone or the same style. That's what we're used to, that's what we're comfortable with. I like to think I have a somewhat wider range, and I do go everywhere from like the extreme to the mainstream and everywhere in between. But I know a lot of my peers that don't. But you are on a whole other level with that. And you're on a level that I think most of us try to get to. I'm working on it because I know for a fact I'm not where you are. I would love to say I am, but I know I'm not. I'm working there, and I know a lot of my peers are also trying to widen their range, but it's like you came out of nowhere and you're just like mic drop, boom, goddamn, here I am. And you can write anything. And I'm just like,
oh my God, Candace, you're making me so emotional.
Like, I'm just like, I don't like you're one of the few. If someone were to ask me anytime this year who needs to be read more, who I want to rave about more, who I want to try to aspire to be more like, or who inspires me the most, it would have to be you, like hands down, because the absolute range of your work, not just the emotional range, but the range of your work is outstanding. Like I can't wait to see what you come up with next. I want it first. I want to be on it. I want to rub it on the face because I just want it. Like you're my spirit animal, and I'm just like whatever you do next, like
Candace, I love you so freaking much. My whole heart is like, oh my God, I feel like so emotional right now.
You know,
those are called palpitations.
You need to.
I'm just kidding. I'll see my way out.
You need to be told, and I think we all need to be told that when there's someone that impacts us in that way, especially us. We are introverted, sensitive creatures. Brennan and Patrick, don't act like you're not. I know you both very well.
You're writers. Everything, Candace. I'm not.
We are introverted, emotional, fragile creatures, and we sit in our libraries at our desk all the time, and we're like, is anyone going to like this? Are they going to read it? Is it good? Is it good? We need to hear it. And when one of us is out here doing the things you're doing, you need to hear it. You need to know that it's not just the readers that are paying attention. It's your peers. It's your colleagues. It's your network. We're listening. We're watching. And I, for one, I applaud every move that you've made because it's impeccable. You need to hear it.
And that's the preview.
I'm feeling actually like so emotional right now. I feel like I'm gonna cry. Like that is like legitimately. Oh my God, I like am so emotional. I'm such an idiot.
Oh,
well, thank you.
I told you we all love you.
Apparently,
I just want you guys to know it. I mean, I am a number one out here as far as trying to help others along, uplift everyone, support everyone, encourage folks. I mean, you guys know my Twitter feed, kind of what I do, because there's not enough of it. There's literally not enough of it. And I just think when somebody impacts you to that point, you need to tell them. You need to tell them, you need to let them know, because maybe they are having that bad day or that bad week or maybe that rough month. And maybe they are having a little bit of imposter syndrome or that little bit of self-doubt, or maybe the story they're working on right now is a little bit of a struggle. But when someone comes up to them and they're just like, you know what, that was fantastic, it gives them that little bit of lift that they need, because we don't tell each other enough and we don't hear it enough. We all hear the bad stuff. We all see the bad reviews.
Oh, yeah.
We all have them. And I feel like sometimes we dwell on that rather than trying to support our peers and lift them up and let them know, hey, you know what you did the other day was fucking awesome. So, yeah, hats off.
You were such a pillar in this community, Candace. Oh my God, I love you so much. I did not expect to cry on a podcast. But that's where we're at tonight, I guess.
So thank you. We are. You're welcome.
Oh, geez. I feel like I need a cigarette, like an emotional cigarette. I'm not even a smoker.
Good talk.
Yeah.
Brennan or Erica, please, because I don't think she can handle me anymore.
Oh, geez, I feel like so emotional. Like anyone asks me something stupid. Oh my God.
Okay, I want to talk. We just kind of got done talking about, in a way, productivity and the way you're kicking out just this wild amount of work. So I want to hear you talk a little bit about work-life balance.
No,
that's what
I don't understand. It's so confused. No, so like that's actually such a weird point of contention with me. I am a workaholic. I'm legitimately in therapy for how much I work. I do find I like struggle sometimes to like let it go, because like I always want to do better than what I did. I always want to like occupy myself and like push myself to like try something new, try something different. And then there's also just like a part of me that's just like always been very restless about my writing, where I feel like if I'm not doing it, then like I'm not doing it, like a panic mode. So for like a while, it was like all consuming. And there just like I also at the time was working full time at college. So like that was just like, it was just too much. I was there like 25 hours just lecturing, which is like full time. And then you're actually there like another 25 with like class prep and grading and like all that, all that nonsense. So I was like writing every day on like, all weekend from like morning to night. I was writing any break I had while I was at the college, late into the evening, early in the morning, like at family events on like it was ridiculous. In the last like year or so, I've been trying to take it like more seriously. And of course, that's the year where things are doing well and I have to be online more and I have more things to write. So like the new thing for me is instead of focusing on like word count, I now try to focus on like a limited amount of time a day to write. And if I don't write in that bracket, then I fucked myself. I didn't write in that bracket. And like I have to be at peace with the fact that I screwed up that day and didn't write, or that I took a day I needed off. Like there's also that option too. Although I still try as best I can to write like every day, even if it's like a little note to myself in a notebook, just like something. But yeah, I've switched from word counts to like time spent writing. I have so this is like, I don't know if everyone else does this, it's probably just me, but I'm like super addicted to my phone now. So like I said, like the last year, like things have taken off. And I went from having like 1,000 people on Twitter to like I'm about to hit like 3,000 followers, which is like 3,000 more people than I should have following me. I like talk about my ass online. Stop following my Twitter. I'm a human disaster.
That's a lot less offensive than what most people show.
Well, today I decided to be spicy and I posted like a topless photo of myself. Only it's not actually topless. I like drew like a little crop top on me as like a joke because like I refuse. But like that was my spiciest post yet. But I'm like always on it. I always feel like I have to be promoting. Like I always have to be checking my phone. So now like part of the work-life balance is like I try not to check my phone after like 6 p.m. And I try not to check it before like 9 or 10 a.m. There are, of course, like little exceptions. Like if I know I, gotta poop, I'll like check up on the poop. Still addicted.
I'd like to actually hear Erica and Candace on this because they're really, really smart with this shit, marketing, and I think I'm gonna go on a limb and say Erica's a little bit better with balance. No offense to you, Candace, you're an absolute brilliant machine, but Erica is kind of the guru in this area. So I would love to hear, Erica, what your thoughts are, followed by Candace.
Yeah, just generally, like my personal take on work-life balance, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just what works best for you.
Well, I should admit, I was not good at it. I still struggle. It took me crashing and burning and my doctors telling me I was going to have a heart attack because I was so stressed out before I realized I got to make a change.
Guru.
Yeah. So I do a lot of sounding similar things. Like I have an iPhone, so I don't know if Android can do it or not, but I can set limits on different apps. So like Facebook, I only give myself 5 minutes a day. Twitter is at an hour and I should probably shorten that, but similar, I feel like I need to be on there because if I'm not, then I'm missing the conversation. I get kind of bummed out.
Yeah.
But things like TikTok, I know if I open TikTok, I could sit there for hours and not look up from my phone, then be like, holy cow, it's midnight and now I'm going to be miserable tomorrow. So I have like a 20-minute timer on that one, things like that. And I just kind of like, this is going to sound so stupid because like everybody should be able to do this to a certain extent, but like listening to your body. I was really, really bad at that for a very long time. And I would just keep pushing. And I would be getting sick, like physically sick all the time. And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just gonna, I'm feeling okay for this second. So I'm gonna go clean the entire house, not just like clean the kitchen. So I really had to learn how to break things up into smaller chunks and listen and say like, oh, no, you need a mental health day. You're going to literally lay on the couch and just watch Netflix all day. And you're not going to feel bad about it. Because obviously if you feel bad about taking the time off, you're not actually taking time off because you're still stressing yourself out. So I think just like, it's really important for everybody to find what works best for them and not feel guilty about it and not let other people get in your head and be like, oh, that's what I should do. Because it's not going to work for everybody. Just like all the writing advice that's out there.
Right.
You can say you need to write for 2 hours a day or at least 5 minutes a day, or you need to write X number of words. Like that's just not going to work for everybody. So, yeah.
Candace, with you specifically, you always talk about make sure you stay hydrated, and like some people might go like, well, yeah, duh, but that is actually I just want to hear why you always. It's obvious, but I just want to hear why you always bring it up.
Me? Because you need water. So I decided to work that in as part of my the most positive person on Twitter approach. Because I think everyone has gotten used to my wake up one and my evening one. And I wanted to have something there like the middle of the day to kind of jump in there and be like, hey, everybody, how's your day? Blah, blah, blah. And if anyone is anything like me, um, we tend to get caught up in work, writing, the day job, the kids stuff, whatever. And while I know a lot of folks forget to eat, I used to forget to drink. Like I would go for hours and not have anything to drink, not have anything to eat, not like, and I would stand up and all of a sudden want to pass out because I've had nothing. So I throw that little afternoon reminder out there. And it's not so much about the water, but if it helps you to remember to, hey, get up and go get something, maybe it's been a while since you've had a drink. But I feel like it helps anyone who happens to read it take a break. Maybe it pops in their head that, hey, you know what? She's right. I am feeling kind of hungry, or maybe I do need a refill, or maybe I do need to stand up and stretch a little bit. And I put those reminders out there basically to myself, but for everyone else who may have worked through like from 5 a.m. and now it's 2 in the afternoon and you haven't even moved to go pee yet. So like maybe you need to get up and take a break.
Your reminders have actually kept me on track. Just like a total sidebar, but like I legitimately every time I'm going to like I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm drinking a cherry Coke right now. And like every time I take something, I can just like legitimately hear your voice being like, drink your water. And I have to have my bottle of water now. Everything I do, because I hear your voice in my head.
It's so working. Because you're not the only one that has told me that this past week, and you don't know how much that pleases me because I'm like, but it means it's working for a few. And I've had a few folks actually reach out to me and say, you know what? I've been listening to you for about a month now, and I actually do feel better. Like I do, there's been some changes in how I feel and how my body is reacting to this. And I'm like, well, good. My work here is done. As far as work-life balance, I have none. You guys already know I have none. I have said this before. I've said it multiple times. My day starts at 5. My day ends at 1 in the morning, straight through. Every day, 7 days a week, straight through. I start my social media stuff at 5. I start editing, reading, writing reviews at 5, whatever I need to do. I start my day job between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. I work that straight through about 9.5 hours a day. I log off. I take a break for an hour. I feed my kid. I cook and feed him, do whatever else. And then I'm in here. I'm in here online. I'm writing. I'm editing. I have 3 whiteboards with my schedule on them. And I do change hats. So I won't sit here and write for 10 straight hours a day unless I have like a deadline. I do change every couple hours what I need to do. So I have an editing job I need to work on for an hour or two. So I work on that and then I'll change hats and I'm like, okay, I need to work on this story. It needs to be done. So I'll do that for like an hour. And then I remember, my own little hint to myself and I stand up and I take a break and I go get my drink and I come back. And then I have something I have to read for a blurb. So I'll do that for like an hour and I come back to the next, whatever is next on that list. Usually from 11:30-ish till about 1 is when I read. So it's not like I'm in here the whole time, like straight up hunched over, like, the Hunchback Notre Dame, just typing. But I do take my sort of like my nightly break between 11:30 and midnight, and I read until about 1 because I have so many books I have to read for blurbs and reviews and all of that. So I kind of work everything around that schedule. And while I know it sounds like a lot, it's manageable for me because it does let me rotate what I'm working on. Unless I do have a deadline that I need to do something straight through, then I will. But those rotations keep me mentally fresh. And because I work from home, I'm literally here all the time. So my little bit of housework and little things like that, I tend to like mix in the earlier part of the day, or I'll wander through the house and I'll straighten up this, or I'll start the dishwasher, I'll start a load of clothes, whatever it is. And when I take my break later that day, I'll do all that little stuff along the way. But yeah, I don't take a day off. I don't take an evening off unless I really am feeling awful, like my head hurts. I literally cannot look at the screen anymore that day. Aside from that, no. I'm online. I'm on my phone. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook, not as much anymore because Twitter seems to be my main thing, but it's necessary as much as we like it or not. We need a presence on the platforms, and I have my little thing that I do out there. I post to Instagram and Facebook. I do all that usually in the morning and then again in the evenings. Twitter is probably my main one though, but again, it's only a few minutes a day. I don't sit and just scroll, scroll, scroll. I come out, I post, I scroll through the couple of things that people have replied to, whatnot, and then I'm done. And then later that afternoon, I do the other check, and I post my, hey, get your water, and I'll scroll through real quick and I'm done. Maybe half an hour a day is what it equals out to. So I don't just sit and scroll for hours. I don't have time. I post, I check, I'm done.
Scrolling's definitely a killer.
Yeah, I learned that. So now I post, I reply to what I need to reply to, and I move on. And my schedule pretty much keeps me on track for like the rest. So I don't have a balance per se, but I live for what I do. I'm not stressed. I find more stress from my actual job than any of this. And that includes like my website and the editing and the writing and all of that because there's nothing more I've ever wanted to do. Since I was like 4, this is the only thing I've ever wanted to do with my life. And now that I'm doing it, I'm not about to stop or slow down. I'm right at this point in time. It's not even a viable option. Like there's no, 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 no. This is what I do. This is what I was meant to do. So I love every minute of this. There is no work-life balance. This is my life. Like this is how I'm balancing my life. This is literally my life. So yeah, no.
I
And
feel
I
that in
know
my
Erica
bones
would
in
tell
just
me
every way.
otherwise.
I love that. Brendan, do you
Yeah.
want to start going to the currently reading?
Yeah, we can do that.
I'll always start with you first there, big guy.
All right. I am reading Moonlight Mile by Dennis Lehane, which that is the correct pronunciation, so you got to learn that in the next
Dennis
like 3
Lehane?
weeks. You got to trust me on this. You got to not call him Dennis Lehane. That's not a thing.
I didn't think I was doing that. Okay, whatever. Why is your mic? Your mic's all like windy.
I don't know.
Does anyone else hear that? Is that just me?
Yeah,
It's
I
just
don't know.
me. Oh, okay.
So this is the 6th book in the Kenzie and Gennaro series. I was going to read 1 or 2 before we had them on, and now I'm on the 6th one. So that's kind of, they're very engaging, and they move, and it's one of those books where it's like 450 pages and you can get through it in a couple days. It's just kind of hard to put down. And I'm also reading Road Harvest by Brian Bowyer, who is one of the nicest, most supportive people that we have in horror. And he has this way of writing just the leanest, meanest ass shit. But it's a it's a pleasure to like get through. So I would definitely recommend checking out his stuff if you haven't before.
Did you just have the book? I was looking down. You can see if you rolled it. Nice. Road Harvest. Erica, what are you currently reading?
Well, I just got off a binge of reading from Caitlin's books. I read Femina, then I read A Blackness Absolute, and then I read Magnum Opus. Every single one was incredible. I was going to keep going, but I unfortunately had to take a pause to read a couple more books that I owe people reviews for, but I will jump back into the rest of your backlog. I am currently reading, and I read the first story in it last night, American Cannibal, edited by Rebecca Rowland. And of course, Candace's story is number 1. I read that at 10:30 last night, and I was just like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
what am I doing? It was amazing. I'm so excited to see what the other stories have, even though I'm really nervous because like the whole, obviously it's called American Cannibal, it's about cannibal stories.
Yes.
That terrifies me. So yeah, I'm gonna have to be careful reading too late at night, but that's it.
Candace, what are you currently reading?
I am reading the new one by Bentley Little, the DMV one. And I just got the art for Cold Black and Infinite by Todd Kiesling, which I'm excited to read. So that is next on my list.
Nice. Caitlin, what are you currently reading?
Still Lost in the Ice Cream, Tim McGregor. I just finished it, so I'm not I haven't picked up the next read. I have a bunch of things I'm supposed to blurb, so I need to absolutely read them. So I gotta double check what those are and then get on it. I am the worst, by the way, in case anybody ever in future listens to this and is like, I'm gonna get her to blurb work. I suck at it. Just be advised. I am slow at reading and I struggle to blurb. So naturally I have 100 to do. So that's what I'm reading next.
I just started reading this today because I finished year 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Preston Fessel. Hope that's how you say his last name. It's called Beast of 42nd Street. I'm only 10% in, but it's just I'm pretty sure it's based in the 70s because there's a lot of references to it, but it's like a pulpy horror sort of deal, and it's just I don't know, it's pretty weird and strange so far, but I mean then in an 11 way. Caitlin, where can people follow you?
On Twitter, online, and if you're Candace in real life as you creep up into my house. No, I'm on pretty much every social media, just like Caitlin Marceau. There's also my website, caitlinmarceau.ca, which is fantastic if you want to check out everywhere I was published, but haven't updated in 5 years. So real blast from the past. And then I haven't been able to mention it, but I was officially given permission today to say it. If you are looking to read some of my stuff, and you're like, wow, I really like this where we talk things out, but I wish it had photos, then Darklit Press is releasing a special edition of the novella with a bunch of illustrations from me. So yay. So you can look for that later this year. Awesome. I think this spring, but I could be wrong.
Brian, you never touched on you guys working in the same publisher house.
Really good. That's it.
Okay. Erica, where can people follow you?
I keep saying the best place is probably my blog, ericarobinreads.com. I've got all those buttons to whichever social platform you like best.
Candace, where can people follow you?
Twitter and my website, Tark. You can find all of my stuff there.
Brennan, how about you, buddy?
Brennan LaFaro on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I think. I don't know if that counts because it's not an author page. BrennanLaFaro.com, BrennanLaFaro.substack.com.
Follow me at PR McDonough on Twitter. Follow the show at Dead Headspace on the major social media platforms. Now we just got one more question. Keelan, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm muted, so that was fun.
I thought that was my headphones.
No. I'm like, why is he scrambling? I'm like, I'm the problem.
I was checking my mics.
I'm the villain of my own story.
Dun, dun, dun.
Final thoughts. It'd be great if after years of online classes, I could work a microphone. And also everyone here is fantastic. So it's just so much fun. Everyone here was amazing. So 10 on 10 place to be online.
Candace, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. No, I think I've said enough this evening. It's been great. And Caitlin, well, you already know. Spirit animal forever. So
I'm gonna switch things up. I'm gonna go then Erica, then Brennan. Final thoughts are Caitlin, it's been really fun talking to you. You're a wonderful writer. I hope people pick up your book. And that ad that we're gonna be playing for probably months from now. An absolute, oh my god, brain no worky. Brennan, help me out, buddy. I'm so sorry, Caitlin.
It's all good.
Just leave him hanging.
Okay.
Wait till he thinks of it.
A Darkness Absolute. Your mic is bothering the shit out of me, man. Darkness Absolute. Yeah, check that book out. Check out the other books that we mentioned today. Erica, final thoughts.
Yeah, you were close unless I screwed up my review. Is it A Blackness Absolute?
Oh, yep. Damn it, Brennan.
Close. Which, to be fair, I think I texted you guys a few weeks ago and I called it A Darkness Absolute because I also couldn't keep the title straight and for some reason. But yeah, my final thoughts. I took a note earlier. I think this is one of the most personal podcasts that I've ever joined with Dead Headspace. So Candace and Caitlin, I just want to thank you guys for being so willing to be vulnerable and share your stories. I think it's always really interesting to hear specific things about that, like just from people in general, but also from writers to kind of like see where their brains go when they're working through their stories. So thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely really nice hearing about all this stuff with doctors too, because that probably hits everyone. They just might not think about it, especially with guys, because the way that, like, not going to say the name, but the way that my dentist talked to me is different than my wife. I don't fucking like that, and I don't get it. Yeah, he's a dick. Brennan, final thoughts.
I think your dentist is an absolute fuck.
My man.
Where else can we go from there? Candace warned us that this was going to be the Candace and Caitlin show, and hey, she didn't disappoint. So, Caitlin, thank you so much for coming on, and Erica and Candace, thank you for joining us and just making this show complete.
Oh,
thank you for having me and making me cry. It was amazing.
you're very welcome.
What a lovely cathartic experience.
Next episode is 192 with that fella Preston Fessel. We're going to talk to him, talk about his books, talk about film. You have many choices in podcasts. Thank you for picking us.